Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Discovering Laguna Woods. I'm Cyndee Whitney, and today we have a rather serious topic. The topic is threats to your savings account, your financial investments from hackers, scammers, and fraudsters. We're going to have a couple of people come on the show today that are going to be helpers. They're going to help you understand what to do if you are a victim of these predatory assaults on your finances, and they're also going to let you know what to do immediately if this happens to you. I know a little bit about this topic because it happened to me. So we're coming right back. And now I'm speaking with Karen Rossi, who is here from the Council on Aging. And Karen is going to be talking, she's having an event, and she's also going to be talking to us today on the anatomy of a scam, because you've done a lot of work on scams and hacks and frauds and how they affect our lives here. And so we were very, very happy to have Karen here today. Karen, how are you?
I am well, very well, and I'm so happy to be here to share this information. This is almost an epidemic. It's gotten so completely out of hand.
Yeah. We've in putting together this show, I've heard so many people tell me their personal stories, which, by the way, is very difficult for people to talk about. Mm-hmm. I find that people who have been scammed, and scamming is probably the most common, mm-hmm. are very reluctant to talk about it because they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, and we've got to get over that because we've got to, show that this is happening, it's proliferating, it's a terrible thing that people experience, and we've got to know about it so that we can solve the problem. So what are some of the things that you're concerned with right now about these topics?
There are a number of different characteristics or situations older adults find themselves in which make them more vulnerable to a scam. One of them is isolation, yes. One of them is loneliness, and the other is like some level of dementia or cognitive decline. Mm-hmm. So when you put those things together, those are the types of people who unfortunately are picking up their phones because they're lonely. They want to talk to somebody. And they don't think about, did I expect this call? Did I initiate this call? Was this a solicited or unsolicited contact? So we begin to see a lot of that. What we try to help people understand is that all age categories, from 18 to 100, we are all targeted. But in Orange County in California, we have a higher population, a higher demographic of 60 plus. And within that demographic, our 85 and plus are going to triple. So the 60 plus will double, the 85 plus within that are going to triple. So we have a lot of older people, a lot of us living longer, but a lot of us at some point may be alone. So what do older people have that younger people don't? Stored wealth, lots of stored wealth, and maybe retirement funds, multiple properties, they might own businesses. They have a lot of stored wealth. And so when they are targets, it isn't by mistake. They're targeted because there's a lot of information about us out there in public domain. And what we need to do is be very careful about protecting our information, locking up our social media if we're out there to only people that we know or that are friends. Be very careful. It isn't just you and I looking at each other's social media. It's like all bad scamming people and fraudsters all over the world that are just trolling social media, looking for the name of your grandchild, a voice that they can duplicate, a birth date, something like that. And usually when that first call comes or that first contact comes, they know exactly what they're calling you for. There's one or two pieces of information they need to steal your identity, and that's why that call comes.
And I understand that AI is now becoming involved in this so that it doesn't necessarily need to be an individual. They can just put this somehow on a computer, and the AI-directed computer will call you, which...
AI is very complicated. And my husband works in the computer industry, and I learned a lot from him about it. But one of the things that he has told me repeatedly is that it is very expensive to generate AI. It requires a large amount of storage and a lot of power. And where does the money come from for these scamsters and fraudsters to be able to create this? Well, when you have in 2024, we're looking at $4.89 billion that were lost by the 60 plus population in cyber scams, things that happened on the internet, mostly cryptocurrency fraud and things like that. That money goes mostly to Southeast Asia. That money is also plenty of money to generate and create a really good AI system. So the fact that they're using AI complicates it to a degree because they can duplicate a voice very quickly. And they can do that off your social media. So you need to be really careful what you post. The other thing that they're really good at is they can do an amalgamation of faces. So like in a lot of times in these romance scams, they'll have a really handsome man or an absolutely gorgeous woman, and it won't be an actual person. It will be an amalgamation of a bunch of really good-looking people, and they create this person and give them a name and give them a voice. Now with ChatGPT, we're not looking at these emails or text messages coming through with grammatical errors and punctuation errors any longer. They're actually correct. They're grammatically correct, which makes it even more difficult for us to identify. So it sounds like our loved one. It's a really attractive person, and I'm lonely, and I'm looking for love, and I'm on a romance or a dating site, and I see this person, and everything is just too good to be true.
And the tragic thing about this is, as you pointed out in the beginning of our segment, is that people are lonely. And so they want to have some communication with somebody, even if it's just somebody to talk to, or they have a common interest. You know, we're both interested in hiking or something like that, and to talk about that. And just to spend time with, not necessarily a romance. And so it seems a harmless thing. And so if they're being targeted for all of these reasons based on their interests, it seems like that's going to make people withdraw even more from, I don't want to go on Facebook anymore. I don't want to go looking for anybody on a site like this that's just looking for friendship because I can't trust anything. So what do you advise?
You know, that's the generation that still has very good manners. You speak to when spoken to, you answer your door, you answer your phone. You're just very polite. People knock on your door, you answer it. Now we have to learn that we can't do that anymore. When they taught us stranger danger as children, we're now telling our older adults, you need to be more aware.
Suspicious.
You need to be suspicious, look over your shoulder, and it sounds so horrible to say. And you know what, at the end of the day, if you are not tech savvy, if you don't really know how to use technology, go to one of the labs, like you guys have 2 labs here. Go to one of the labs and learn how to use your computer better. Learn how to lock up your social media. You don't have to go to a dating site to find a friend. You don't have to go on Facebook to find a friend. Go to an event like the Thrive event. The whole purpose of that event is for people to get together. And loneliness and isolation are the major things that drive older adults who unfortunately get caught up in scams and fraud. And a lot of times the embarrassment is because they think that they are not very smart. They think, how can I be so stupid, or my kids are going to put me in a home. The reality is that we're trying to change the narrative away from you should feel bad because you're a victim. No, you did nothing wrong. Somebody else did something wrong. So let's change the narrative to who is the bad person here? It isn't you. You were the victim of something. You were the survivor of something. Now we need to look at who are the people that perpetrated the crime. These are the people we need to go after. And as a population, our older adult population is terrible at reporting these things. And because of that, it is very difficult for law enforcement to even identify who some of these people are. They live in shadows.
I did have a friend who they contacted her husband had recently passed away, and they took advantage of that and contacted her about some of the paperwork or something, or some account that needed to be funded and so forth. And she went and took the money out, gave it to them, and then they came back a second time. And when she went into the bank the second time, a gentleman from one of the offices in the bank came out and tapped her on the shoulder and said, I'd like to talk to you about that withdrawal you're about to make. And she burst into tears, and she explained it because she was so embarrassed that she didn't tell anybody. So I'm going to have to conclude our conversation today, but I want to mention to you that the rest of our show is going to be with the PC Club and the Mac Club, and we're going to address phone hacks and scams both types of computers, regardless of what computer that you use. There are classes here that we offer. We've got, they're just, and we're adding more and more and more about what is hacking, what is a scam, what types of fraud are there, because they are proliferating and they are building on this horrible thing that they do. If one doesn't work, they go on to the next one, and we're fighting back. So I want everybody in our village to know that we're working on it, and we appreciate so much you coming in and making us aware. You made such good points today. I'm really, really happy that you came in today, Karen.
Thank you. The last thing I would say, yes. If you did not initiate contact, it doesn't matter how it happens. Yeah. Do not engage, because once you engage, you are part of the scam. If they leave you a phone number, if they leave you a link or an email address, go to the source. If they say that they're the Social Security office, go to your report, go to your statement. Yes. If they say that they're your bank, double check. Because one of the things that they do is they read obituaries too. Yes, and that's how they find people like the woman you were discussing.
I thank you so much for coming in today, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Imposters. They're out there, pretending to be a government agency or a business. Imposters contact you by phone, text message, or email and ask for personal information or demand payments for some infraction. United States Postal Inspectors say that these are the most common imposter scams to watch out for. 1. You receive bogus alerts about suspicious activity or unauthorized charges on your account. 2. Scammers try to trick you into paying for things like fake discounts, renewing subscriptions, giveaways, or prizes. 3. Bogus allegations are made implying you committed a crime, and scammers will ask for payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, cryptocurrency, gold bars, or by mailing cash. Anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. Federal agencies will never ask for instant payments or for personal information, and anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. Ignore the messages or hang up. Report these scams to the Federal Trade Commission. For more information on scams, visit uspis.gov.
And now we are in the Learning Center, the PC Learning Center, which is located in the Community Center. And I'm speaking with Gary Russell, who is the president of the PC Club. Hi, Gary, how are you?
Great.
Well, you know, today we're really trying to look at the problem that we have with scams, hacks, frauds, and all of the things that are happening to the residents of our community. And this is PC specific. Now, I'm a pretty typical resident. I use my PC. I do have a PC. I use it for Word documents. I go on the internet. I do an occasional PowerPoint. You know, just the typical stuff. Email. How vulnerable am I?
Well, there are safeguards, and Microsoft Windows, for example, does its best to try to help with that, since we all use Windows to some degree, and yet the scams still sneak through, and they can get through and they can cause a lot of damage to the residents. So we have to be on our guard, and we have to use logical precautions, you know, against these, and hopefully not fall prey or fall victim to one of them.
And they're proliferating, they're evolving, they're becoming more sophisticated. I understand that they're not even so much human beings anymore, they're AI.
Right.
So you offer programs, classes here to help people become more educated about this and be less vulnerable and more aware.
Yeah, that's correct. The main class, we have a couple of classes on them. The main one is one called Safe Computing. And it's actually one that I'm doing right now that walks through what scams are the most prevalent and how they've evolved over the years. And then we touch on password protection, which is a whole subject in and of itself, right? You know, what I find is that people have all kinds of different methodologies for passwords. And so we go through that, what are best practices and so forth. But you're absolutely right that I call them the bad guys, are getting stronger and stronger and more sophisticated, which means we have to be, you know, on our game, looking out for it.
Yes, and I have been scammed myself by somebody on the phone, and it was a very different thing. It wasn't on the computer, but I felt that it happened to me because I grew up to be trusting,
yes,
compliant, not think that somebody is a bad actor.
That's
and I
right.
think a lot of us feel that way. So maybe, I don't want to use the word easy targets, but it would seem like we kind of are.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, sadly, we are, even though we all know better and a lot of us have been schooled in this, we tend to be trusting. We've built the wealth that we're going to build. We have it already. It's, and we can sometimes fall prey. But just know, we're not the only ones. Younger people fall prey too. This isn't just an issue with seniors.
Yeah.
And so although we may have to be, on guard and knowledgeable on this, I don't think we should feel like we're the only ones, in the country being targeted.
So what are you doing as the PC Club for those of us who do use our PCs and love them? What are you offering us?
There's a couple of different things. One is I encourage everyone who may be interested to come to the class on safe computing. We walk through it. It's offered about once every other month, and a couple hours, and we just go through all the fundamentals and the basics.
May I ask you where this is posted? How will we know this?
Sure, yeah, it's right here in the Learning Center, and we advertise it on our website and in the newsletters and the flyers that go out to the clubhouses. It's called Safe Computing. And that's a good overview, and that class has actually evolved, so it's not static. So if you took it, say, last year in 2024, I encourage folks to take it again, because we do have updated information on it. And I know we're going to get into this, but the threats, as I call them, it's really a threat counter threat type of thing. Meaning, the bad actors out there are going to try stuff, and they're going to see what works for them. Unfortunately, works for them, what is effective for them. So they have sort of perfected their game a little bit. It used to be you could spot a scam email pretty easily with false information. The email wasn't quite right. It had a sense of urgency to it. The click here were kind of, easy to spot. Now they are not. And now they are doing things that you might feel are just sort of understandable and relatable, in that they'll come from the post office, seemingly, or FedEx. Are you expecting a package? And most of us are, expecting a package soon. So the way they get at us is a lot more common and harder to spot than it used to be.
And another question is, what should we do if we have experienced this, if it has happened to us? A lot of people are ashamed. A lot of people are embarrassed, and they don't want to say anything to anybody.
I understand that, and it's happened to me too, and I was embarrassed as well. And at some point you have to sort of get over it and stand tall and just know, okay, I'm going to just deal with this now. There are various agencies that are, the federal government and the FBI, for example, and identity theft is another website. At some point, though, the damage is done, and you may not be able to recover any lost money. But what you can do is protect yourself against future threats, future vulnerabilities. Tighten up your password protection, tighten up your credit, and just keep it from happening again. We can also talk about ransom a little bit. It doesn't hit people very much, it hits corporations more.
Right. So what is probably the most common, the most likely that we would experience? It seems like we are targeted in Laguna Woods. I know because it's known to the world that we are a zip code of people who are all over 55.
Right.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
So we're
we're all in one place, right?
We're all
It's
in
an
one
easy
place.
target.
Yes.
I would say the most prevalent fall into two general categories. One are emails that come in that are maybe look suspicious, maybe don't, but they are the ones that say time is running out. Usually there's a call to action that's a sense of urgency. Click here to verify. And those are, again, very hard to spot. And the first thing they used to say, put your pen down. In this case, put your mouse down, right? And hesitate and pause and reflect. In that case, if somebody's trying to contact you and get you to do something, what you do is you pause and you contact them at a known phone number or website. So you're not clicking the email that's there or calling the phone number that's there. You are calling an independent one and saying, hey, I received this email, is it legit? The second thing on that front that is becoming, so this is where AI can be a good thing. There are certain programs right now, and they are offered free, where you can upload the email and it will tell you, it is its own AI engine, and it will tell you if it's suspicious. Now, I find that they tend to be more on the, yes, everything is a threat, rather than being extremely discerning, but they will go through that email and say, yes, this is suspicious, this is. The second category of threats that a lot of us are seeing, and I get them daily, almost certainly weekly, are social engineering. Social engineering are the ones that come in through text that say, hi, Melissa, and you say, this is not Melissa. Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you, but how's your day going? And they're trying to get you into a conversation. And that's where you just hit report junk and move on.
Yes.
Or do nothing.
Yes.
Don't engage them. And they will eventually move on. So those are sort of easy to get rid of. The other one, I'll call it 2A and 2B, that falls into the social engineering one. And there's a few people that I've had in my classes that have been hit with this, that say, hey, Grandpa, it's Jimmy. I got arrested last night. Please don't tell Mom and Dad, but they're offering that if you pay $2,000, I can get out right now. And I'm so embarrassed about the shoplifting or whatever. And they know that you have a son named, or a grandson named Jimmy. Yeah. And there's ways to counter that too, but that's horrendous, right? That somebody would do that to you.
I had a friend, it's the same thing, that was called, and they said, and they made it sound like a young boy, and he said, Grandma, I'm in trouble. And she said, Zach, is that you?
Oh, right.
They have the name.
Right, now they have the name, right?
And that was all they needed.
A few of my students who've been in are pretty sophisticated, and they said, hey, there are ways to say, hey, did you tell your brother Tommy about this? Yeah. And they go, no, I haven't told Tommy. And they go, well, you don't have a brother named Tommy.
It's so hard to think like
I
that.
know, especially in the moment. I'll even say that the 2C, there's a third aspect of the social engineering, which is it's romance and dating. And people fall prey to, you know, somebody they think is legitimate and they're looking for friendship or companionship, and it turns out to be not a good situation. And that's really sad, because that's tugging at psychologically at all aspects of us.
It's insidious. I agree. Facebook is also another place that you can, have problems.
Right.
You should trust who you're talking to and verify. And so.
One thing I learned that I did want to pass on to the viewers here, which I found almost remarkable, is, and I think this was actually a subject of a 60 Minutes episode, so this has a lot of credibility to it, is that these people that are calling aren't necessarily lone wolves. They're working for corporations. Believe it or not, P&L corporations that have hiring and firing and P&L goals and HR, and they are working for them and actually, on a salary, but also probably commissioned as well. So they have managers, they have promotions, they have raises, and they're just out there targeting us, and again, threat, counter threat, but they're quite sophisticated.
This is so fascinating, and I know we could talk for hours, but I'm afraid we have to close for now. Sure. But I want to leave people with the understanding that help is here. Right. You have a PC. You have the programs that change. If you've already taken it, come back and take it again, because it's evolving. Contact you and say, I need some greater understanding of, I feel, and there's lots of things that happen with the PC. There's a loud noise that comes out of my with screaming sounds, and it never goes away. You can't turn it off.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, but I will say that a number of people, and I've had it happen too, get sort of the McAfee virus,
Yeah.
right? And it won't go away.
Yeah.
It's likely not going to harm your computer, but it's certainly slowing you down, and
Yes.
it's quite annoying.
And so the thing to do is Control-Alt-Delete.
Well, yeah.
Shut your computer off.
First thing
that
I
way.
tell people is disconnect from the internet
Yeah.
on any
Yeah.
thread.
Yeah.
And then turn your computer back on and work offline,
Exactly.
and then clean the computer, and
Yes.
then when it's safe,
Yes.
reattach again.
Yes.
Most IT cyber professionals will tell you something similar.
Well, this is so helpful. I mean, I feel better already. I feel safer just talking to you today. This is great. I'll go home with my computer with a whole new feeling of trust and
A set of
safety.
tools,
I
right?
do.
Exactly.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you and allowing us to come into your space. We're in the PC Learning Center, and it's a great place to come in and learn things.
You bet.
All right.
We
So
welcome
thank you very
it.
much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. Hi everyone, I'm sitting here now with Dennis Kelly, and he is the head of the Mat Club, and it's a very important group here in our village. And I was just spending some time over there, and now I'm talking to Dennis about the classes that they have. So welcome to this conversation, Dennis.
Thank you.
It's really important, and I'm loving the fact that you have so many classes, and I'm going to just read a couple of them because there's so many, it's hard for me to remember. What is hacking? How hackers hack? Hacking versus scams, hacking recovery, and then you do things on Apple Cash and Apple Pay and other things where we're involving transfers of money and all of these things that we do on our phones.
Right.
Tell me why you started doing this. It's a great thing.
Well, we wanted the seniors here in the Laguna Woods to be more educational, what they're doing with their phones.
So is that part of what you teach your class? You have so many excellent classes besides those. Is that kind of what you teach people, is be smart?
Yes, we do that. I'm also a consultant here in Laguna Woods, so I go out to people's homes and just telling them, watch those emails. Something comes in and it looks like the real thing. It probably isn't. Call the bank or call the people that were sending you that information in your email, and just make sure before you start giving your phone number out or giving your credit card.
What is the most important thing that we could be doing?
The most important thing is when you see that email come in, just like I said a minute ago, make sure it's the person that you think
Yes.
that you're giving your information to. Is that right person?
Yes.
You know, there's another scare tactic is they'll say, you know, you're out of storage on your phone. So, and they scare them and say, well, you know, we're going to delete all your pictures and everything will be deleted unless you call this number to upgrade your storage. And, you know, most people here, their grandkids and their family members, they're scaring them. Oh, that's all going to be deleted? So I have to upgrade my storage?
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Isn't
it's
that
like,
crazy?
yeah,
Oh my gosh. That and the toll roads.
that's another one.
I
The
know.
toll roads,
No.
you know, and PayPal
Don't
is,
fall- yes.
is a big one.
All
A lot of
right.
people have been scammed on PayPal.
Well, Dennis, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in. You have so much more to say. Your whole group over there in the Mac Lab has so much more to tell us, and we want to appreciate all of your hard work that you put into making us safer in the classes that Annie teaches and so forth. We need to become more aware of that, and we need to show up over there. And we will be right back. Well, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate the guidance from Karen Rossi, Dennis Kelly, and Gary Russell. We appreciate their expertise and help on this very, very serious topic. And we appreciate you for joining us every Sunday and Wednesday morning at 9:30 a.m. and anytime you want to watch us on Village Television YouTube. So we look forward to seeing you next time and every time on Discovering Laguna Woods. Bye-bye for now.